Hello YouTube, Elmas here, and I have for you guys today a post-narrated showdown battle that I had against my very good friend Small Gun DMT, aka Tyler, aka DMT. Some of you guys may know who he is. He does make very good videos, guys, so if you used to be subbed to him, he closed his channel, then he reopened it, so I'll leave his channel link down in the description. Definitely recommend you guys to go check him out. Does make some very good showdown lives. And of course, if you guys do enjoy the battle, make sure to show off your support and leave a like down below. It is just 1 second of your time. And before I talk about team preview, I actually have a big announcement for you guys. For those of you who don't know who may have forgot, I was actually, or am still technically, a part of Lumio Station, which is a giant Pokemon community group. We are almost at 100k, and today, or actually probably by the time this goes up, I'm actually making or made my return to Lumio Station, and I'm actually doing a showdown series on there where I do long showdown lives. And may I say, the first showdown live was actually pretty awesome, so you guys can go check that out when it goes up, or if it's up by this time that this goes up, then I'll leave a link to that down in the description, or I'll just leave a link to Lumio Station. Go subscribe. There are a bunch of different series, although as far as I know right now, I am the only person who will be uploading a showdown series. So if you really do like my showdown lives, go show support to the new series. Also, welcome to the new subscribers that I may have got from that video if it is up by now. Basically, what I do for this series, I guess you could call it, is I post narrate showdown battles, just because obviously I do not record every single battle that I have, and normally I ladder from time to time and I don't record, and I do tend to get some pretty solid battles. So anytime that I do upload a post narrated showdown replay, just assume that it's a very good battle. And this one, as I said, was very good. Tyler is definitely a very competent player. If you are subscribed to him, he does tend to be very high on the UU ladder, 1600s or more. I think I forgot what the top of the UU ladder is. I want to say it's like 1700, but yeah, Tyler definitely knows what he's doing. And we were in call with a bunch of other friends, and I just randomly challenged him just to kind of mess around and just kind of waste some time before I went to sleep. And it really did turn out to be a solid, good, and very close battle. Now, the team that I'm using, I've never shown you guys before. It's an early version of a fighting spam team with Crocoon as the late game sweeper, and Lucario, Heracross, and Manchow pretty much as the wall breakers. And I have specially defensive volt switching Fortress just so I can gain momentum, get up spikes, and rapid spin. Also have a soft switch into Scarfed Hydreigon, and then we have Mega Aerodactyl, which I personally like this over Crobat, mainly because it gets stealth rocks, because I didn't want to put rocks on Fortress because I wanted spikes on Fortress, because having both hazards up is very handy. Plus Mega Aerodactyl does have some pretty solid bulk to it, a whole lot of speed, and can hit decently hard. So yeah, that is just a quick introduction to my team. If you want to know more about Tyler's team, he did do a PS Live on Tuesday with this team. Obviously, at the time that we had this battle, I know about the team. No, he did a PS Live Wednesday. We had this battle Tuesday night. Anyways, it's 3.5 minutes. Let's get into this. So I'm going to be leading off with my Mega Aerodactyl, basically predicting him to lead off with Crobat, because as I said, my team is a fighting spam team, and obviously Crobat is the biggest threat to my team. Also, his Heliolisk is going to be a major issue, just because, as you can see, I have no ground type. So Heliolisk and Crobat were the two main things that I was really worried about going into this battle. Also, I cannot allow this Suicune to get up a couple Calm Minds, or if I do, I have to hope that I get lucky when he tries to rest talk and doesn't Scald, so I can set up a Swords Dance with my Flame Orb Heracross or with my Adamant Life Orb Lucario. So yeah, I do lead off with Aerodactyl, predicting him to lead off with Crobat, and I know that he's going to switch out, not stay in, obviously, because Aerodactyl are known for carrying Stone Edge. So I'm going to go ahead and get him my Stealth Rocks as he brings in the Crocodile. I'm actually going to switch out just because I don't carry Aqua Tail on this Aerodactyl. If I did, then I definitely would have stayed in and gone for it, because even at -1, I'm pretty sure I still would have done a pretty solid amount of damage to this Crocodile. Also, Crocodile is a bit of a nuisance just because it can spam knockoff. Then again, I do have ways of stopping it. It's just I like to keep items on my Pokemon. So Tyler does make a very good play, predicts me to switch out, pursuing me, getting off 60% of damage, as I make a very stupid play and I bring Lucario, forgetting that Jolly Crocodile is faster than Jolly Lucario. Even though I'm adamant, I thought I was going to force him to switch out it was a little late at night when we had this game. So yeah, my brain finally kicked in and was like, hey, you're not faster. So I make the save switch into my Suicune, which is kind of good. Well, it's not really good actually, just because I take an unnecessary hit, but in the long run of the battle, that misplay was not game changing, as I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Skull just on the off chance that he wouldn't switch directly into Heliolisk, but he does make the smart play by bringing it in, and now I'm very positive that he's just gonna want to go for the Volt Switch, and the best thing on my team to take Volt Switch, or that I want to take Volt Switch, is my Fortress, and I'm especially defensive, although I know that Fortress doesn't have the best Padef around. That still did a pretty solid amount of damage, and then I make a pretty nice play, if I do say so myself. And I'm actually going to stay in predicting Tyler to predict me to switch out and either want to go for an extreme speed, well, not extreme speed, but basically what I'm trying to say is that I knew he wouldn't go for Sacred Fire or go for Flare Blitz. I was either expecting him to go for the Stone Edge or pull a double switch out, and I knew he wouldn't bring in Krookodile just because obviously I have a Suicune, so I would normally switch that into an Entei, so him doubling into into Krookodile would have been a terrible play on his part if I did bring in a Suicune, so I knew he wouldn't bring in Krookodile here. So I'm going to be able to go for the Volt Switch, as he actually pulls out the Toxic, which I was really not expecting him to do, because I didn't think that Choice Band and Entei ran Toxic. But it's fine, as I can blatantly get a free switch into my Lucario, and I'm honestly in a scenario where I can go straight for a close combat, just because even though he does have Crobat, if he brings it in after the Stealth Rocks damage and the close combat damage, I will be able to knock him out with the Iron Tail. So I go for the close combat, do a solid 20% amount of damage, seeing that he has no Black Sludge. I know he's the Acrobatics Crobat, but because he has Entei and Abomasnow, I'm going to predict him to go for the Defog, and in return destroy his life with the Iron Tail, which is really great for me, because the biggest threat to my team that pretty much checked a lot of my team is now gone. The only problem that I have left is his Suicune, preventing it from trying to set up freely. Also, Heliolisk is still a tad bit of a problem, although I do have Scarf Manshell, so that can actually really come in handy, because I'm basically free to spam High Jump Kick at this point. Unfortunately though, Reckless Scarf High Jump Kick does not 2-hit KO Suicune, so if I do want to 2-hit KO this, I either need to get on my rocks again, or I need to get off a good amount of prior damage on Suicune. So he's going to bring in Krookodile, and Tyler's going to make another very good play, obviously knowing that I wouldn't want to stay in. He's going to go for the Pursuit, get off 57% as I bring in my Aerodactyl. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I don't carry the Aqua Tail, but here I do predict him to just want to get up his Stealth Rocks, so I get on my own rocks. Me having rocks on his side of the field is more beneficial than him having rocks on my side. So as I go for the Roost, Knockoff does way too much damage for my liking, and then expecting him to either go for the Earthquake or the Pursuit, I go for the Aerial Ace. As I get off a solid amount of damage, I can now bring in my Manshell, and I think I think Tyler said that he thought that he could live U-turn. I don't really know why he thought that, so that was a bit of a misplay on his part. Then again, I could have just as easily gone for the High Jump Kick and ensured that I knocked something else on his team out. So I'm able to get rid of the Krookodile, which is really great. So if I spin away the rocks, they will no longer be up on the field. As I can bring in my Lucario, he's going to bring in the Suicune. I'm just going to go straight for the close combat because I'm adamant max attack, and I do 47%, which means if I can get the same damage roll, I will be able to actually 2-hit KO this Suicune, as Tyler makes a very bad misplay, goes for the Calm Mind, but look, 1%, really Lucario. So now I'm in a bit of a bad scenario. So basically here I can either go for the Swords Dance, hope and pray that he doesn't get Scald, and then I can hit him up with a +2 Adamant Stabbed close combat, ensuring that any other move from my team except, well, Fortress and Suicune will be able to finish off his Suicune. Or what I could do is just go straight for the close combat, get off the 41 to 47%, then bring in my Heracross, Swords Dance, as even if he pulls the Skull at +1, it really won't do too much damage to me, and I basically get a free kill on his team because I'm going to be a +2 with Guts, and I'm an Adamant Nature. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for the close combat, and you're going to see that me going straight for close combat actually really helps me later in the match. However, though, it turns out that he doesn't pull the Scald, and he actually gets rest, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. No, Calm Mind. Okay, he gets Calm Mind. My fault, my fault. Even at +2, I know the Heracross can still live a hit and live rocks and burn damage. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Heracross, and I really have no reason to not go straight for the Swords Dance, as I actually get rather lucky again, and he pulls the rest. Now, the minimum damage that a +2 stabbed Flame Orb close combat from Adamant Heracross to max defense, max HP Suicune is 101. That is the minimum damage. Honestly, I thought it would be more, but I guess Suicune is just really, really bulky. So yeah, we're basically going to play a game of what wants to die. So I'm going to go straight for close combat. He's going to decide to fodder off his Abomasnow, which turns out to have the soundproof, as I'm able to cleanly KO him. I'm pretty sure that would have killed like 5 Abomasnows. So at this point, he can basically just get a free switch into Heliolisk, which is going to force me to switch out, because I do still have use for Heracross later in this match, because if I get a free switch into it on the Suicune, I pretty much get a free kill, as I'm going to bring in my Fortress. And knowing how much damage Volt Switch did earlier, I know that I'm not going to live another Volt Switch, but he actually ends up going for the Surf, which I thought was a bit of a questionable play. But I guess this way he does force me to bring in my Manshao, and unfortunately at the amount of HP that Heliolisk is at, no other move besides High Jump Kick knocks out Heliolisk. Although, actually no, I think Knockoff actually does finish off Heliolisk at the amount of HP that he's at. But the reason why I don't want to go for Knockoff with Manshao is because Suicune will be able to take 2 knockoffs, and I believe it's at the point where he can wake up the turn after he switches it in, which means he can rest up again, and if he gets lucky with Calm Mind, then I basically lose the game. So I'm in a scenario where I'm forced to go for the High Jump Kick, which is good and bad. It's good in the sense because I OHKO or 2 a KO everything left on his team. It's bad because there's a 10% chance that I could miss, and let's be honest, I do not have the best luck around. So he's going to actually switch out into Suicune, thinking that I wouldn't be able to 2KO him, but because of the close combat damage that I got off with Lucario, he's in the range where another one will easily be able to finish him off. So of course I do not want to allow him to freely wake up and go for the rest, so I'm going to get lucky, hit a second High Jump Kick as he brings in the Entei. I make a really dumb misplay here. So at the amount of HP that I'm at, the maximum damage that an Adamant Choice Banded Extreme Speed coming from Entei to Manshao is 85%, which means I could have definitely stayed in and gone for a third High Jump Kick, knock out the Entei, switched out, fought off my Suicune and my Heracross to get enough Life Orb recoil to where I could ensure that knockoff would finish him off and basically win the game with Manshao. However, though, there was a chance that I could have missed, so I guess subconsciously I switched out not wanting to miss, which in the end, this play doesn't really matter, but it does make the match a little bit closer than it should have been. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off Heracross because at this point, even Heliolisk knocks me out, allowing me to now get a free switch into my Suicune. And I make a rather smart play in my opinion here. So obviously, I can't go for Scald, because at the amount of HP that Heliolisk is at, I could potentially bring him up to over around 70%, I want to say, which would actually be very terrible for me because I would have to rely on High Jump Kick at that point. So what I'm going to do is actually go for the Calm Mind here, because I'm pretty positive that after +1 Spadef at the amount of HP that I'm at, that his Heliolisk should not be able to 2KO me, which means I could potentially Life Orb stall him, and with his Entei being his last Pokemon, he's not going to be able to Volt Switch. Then again, there's a chance he just has Thunderbolt. So once I get rid of a Heliolisk, as long as my Suicune is at a good enough amount of HP, I pretty much win with Suicune. So I am going to go ahead and go for the Calm Mind. I didn't want to pull a double switch just because I didn't want to risk him staying in and going for the Extreme Speed, calling my bluff, as at +1 Spadef, it turns out that he doesn't have the Thunderbolt, and Grass Knot still does a solid 42% amount of damage. And the reason why I went straight for the rest was on the off chance that he did go for Thunderbolt, for Thunderbolt, as I'm able to take the Grass Knot. I'm just gonna stay in, and okay, for a second there I thought I went for Sleep Talk. Obviously I didn't Sleep Talk because, oh damn it. Okay, we're good. That's never happened before, so I apologize for that. But the reason I didn't go for Sleep Talk was obviously because I didn't want to pull the Scald and give him HP, because that actually would have been a really dumb thing for me to do. As this turn, I'm going to go ahead and actually switch out into my Manchow, pretty much knowing that Tyler's not going to go for a Volt Switch, because if he does, then he just loses a game pretty much at this point. So he goes for the Grass Knot and he crits me. Thankfully though, I live, as I can pretty much just go for a knockoff here. I didn't want to U-turn just because I didn't really feel the need to do so. Actually, no. Actually, U-turning would have been the better play for me to do. Yeah, because I still would have knocked out Heliolisk, and then I wouldn't have to, well, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered either way. Yeah, it would have just made the score 2-0 instead of 1-0. So yeah, I'm just going to fodder off Manchow here as I can bring in Suicune. I already wasted 1 turn of sleep, so as long as he does not get a crit, then I pretty much win the game here. So he goes for the first E-Speed, take it like it's nothing. I go for the Sleep Talk and I pull the rest, which obviously does not help me any. And because that was my second turn of rest, again, as long as he doesn't crit me, I should be fine. As I live, I'm going to be able to go for the Scald. I almost wanted to just go for the rest and make him struggle, but Tyler is my friend, so I decided not to do that, and that is the very, very narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. As I said, I did make some plays that made this battle a little bit closer, but at the time, obviously, I didn't really think out my plays, and I don't really catch mistakes that I make that could have kept the match with me at a higher score after I watched the battle a couple times. But yeah, either way, it was a very, very solid battle. Tyler did make some very good plays as well in the end, although I was able to pull out the victory nonetheless. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the awesome battle, and if you did, make sure to show off your support and leave a like down below. And with that being said, guys, check out the series on Lumio Station and check out my boy Tyler. And yeah, I will see you all tomorrow. So later, everybody.